Have you ever watched something very little become big? Perhaps you have helped plant a seed before and you watch a tiny seed become a big plant. Before we jump into our adventure today, welcome to Junior Time Travelers TV Stories from the Past. Today, we are hopping on our historical time machine to explore the rise and fall of ancient Rome. Come with me as we go on an epic journey through one of the most incredible civilizations in history. Let's go. Once upon a time, Rome was just a small city with big dreams. The Romans were super smart builders and thinkers. They built roads and aqueducts. They invented the Roman arch, which made their buildings strong. Before they knew it, Rome grew into a mighty empire like a little seed, a tiny seed that becomes a big plant. But where did they come from? That is shrouded in mystery like many ancient civilizations. We have to rely on legends and folklores of the people, and these are not always accurate. One story has it that in about 753 BCE, a certain Romulus founded the Roman nation. They were groups of people who settled along the river Tiber. They formed communities on 7 hills, and they said Romulus was the first king with his twin brother whom he later killed. Several other kings ruled, and because the people were not happy with their kings, they decided they were going to try another form of government, a republic. The Roman Republic was a form of governance by elected magistrates and the common people. There was a lot of fighting as many of the rulers were unkind. The Romans had a Senate class. Admission into the Senate was strictly by birth. These privileged men were called patricians. Then there was the common people or plebeians. The patricians and the plebeians elected the magistrates. When there is a problem, the magistrate submits the problem to the Senate for debate. The Senate discusses it amongst themselves, they pass it into law or advice, and the magistrates take their decisions back to the common people. The Roman Senate did not always represent the people. Many were not satisfied as these leaders were corrupt, so there was a lot of infighting within and outside Rome. The Romans gained prominence in the reign of the Caesars, beginning with Julius Caesar, a man who became sole ruler by 46 BC and declared himself dictator. In 44 BC, Julius Caesar was murdered by his enemies. Rome now had 3 rulers: Octavian, the adoptive son of Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, and Lepidus, each of these men ruling different parts of Rome, all 3 men appointed by the Roman Senate. Following the famous Battle of Actium, the combined armies of Mark Antony and Cleopatra of Egypt were defeated by Octavian. He later removed Lepidus, the 3rd ruler, from his position, stripping him of his titles. Octavian became the sole ruler and first emperor of Rome in 27 BCE. Octavian took on the title Caesar, and with his influence, the Roman Senate gave him the name Augustus, or Great One. He ruled for 40 years. He had 4 rulers come from his lineage, family, or dynasty, namely Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, and Nero. The Romans gradually conquered everyone around them, including the Greeks before them, and adopted many of the culture, art, religion, and politics of Greeks and the other nations. As Roman influence expanded, so did the fighting in Rome. At its peak, their influence covered most of Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia. After the Augustus lineage of rulers, the next was the Flavian family: Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. There were about 70 emperors of Rome. The word empire is not a word we use often these days. An empire is a group of countries or states or territories under another state or country. The countries or states were forcefully conquered and made subject to their conquerors. The Romans got to the height of their glory in the reign of Emperor Trajan. He was from the Nerva Antonian family. The Romans saw him as one of their best, or perhaps the best. He had a good reputation, and emperors after him had one wish: to be better than Trajan. Under Trajan, the Roman Empire stretched beyond the different sides of the empire. What was life like then? The empire was divided into smaller sections. The emperor appointed magistrates to oversee these sections. They had their military, their police, and tax collectors. Although for the most part Roman citizens did not pay taxes, only people conquered pay taxes. There were two classes of people: the upper wealthy class and the common people. The wealthy class controlled the politics of the day, and the common people subjected themselves to them. Did you know that there were more slaves in Rome than free people? They had paved roads, built massive structures, and excelled in arts, crafts, and sciences. Much of what we know today as civilization, we copied the Romans. And the Romans loved entertainment. They spent much of their time in theaters like the Colosseum, watching gladiator games and other spectacles. Afterward, the empire began to decline. Some historians say from the days of Constantine, and by 476 CE it fell to the barbarian king German Odessa. Thus came the end of an empire that lasted about 1,000 years and one of the most brutal world powers in history. The Roman Empire lasted for about 1,000 years. Even though ancient Rome is not around us anymore, its legacy lives on. We still use Roman numerals. We see Roman influence in architecture, language, and governments. They left a mark that we can still look at and feel today. So, young explorers, that was the story of the rise and fall of ancient Rome. A city that started small but grew into a strong empire with legendary leaders, exciting gladiator games, and fascinating stories. But before we say goodbye, question: what was the name of the first Roman emperor? A. Julius Caesar, B. Caesar Augustus, and C. Tiberius Caesar. How did you answer? If you answer B. Caesar Augustus, you are right, and a massive thumbs up for you. Keep exploring the incredible stories from the past, and who knows what other ancient wonders you will discover. Subscribe to find out more about the past. Until next time, this is Gino Time Travelers TV signing off.